The Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith just filed a motion to dismiss the federal criminal case against the president-elect over his efforts to overturn the 2020 election results.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Special Counsel Jack Smith filing to drop all 4 felony charges against President Trump in relation to January 6th. Now, is anybody surprised? Just answer that question right away. Before we even get into the video and all the details, is anyone surprised here? You shouldn't be. We all knew from the beginning, going all the way back to 2015, when he first came down the escalator, we knew that all this legal rigmarole was just a way to keep Trump out of office. And a lot of people are talking about, oh, the election is rigged, he can't win, it's rigged. Well, if it's so easy to rig an election and manipulate the votes at the machine, then why do all this? Why do you have Alvin Bragg talking about, oh, well, we're getting them on this hush money case and we're going to put it on pause. We're going to put the sentencing on pause until, I think they said 2029, not even 2028, 2029. It's like, for real, you're going to wait 4.5, 5 years to sentence Trump and give him what? Community service, a slap on the wrist? You should listen. Every case, every lawsuit, every investigation against Trump should be dropped because we know the reason why it was done. It was to keep Trump out of the office. Guess what, though? Guess what? Didn't work. Didn't work. Too bad. So sad. We got the orange man back in there. Took a little break, 4-year break, and the public were able to witness what a country is like under the Democrats, under Sleepy Joe, under Lazy Kamala. We were able to see it. The people didn't like it. We won the orange man back, and we got him. Now, before I go any further, let's get into the actual news clip here. Of course, I will link to this in the box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
We're coming on the air with breaking news about President-elect Donald Trump. The Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith just filed a motion to dismiss the federal criminal case against the president-elect over his efforts to overturn the 2020 election results.
Now, if the case has been dismissed, then you should say over the allegations, not over. Like, see how they do? This is why the mainstream media are dying off. Because we just heard that they're going to drop all the charges. And we just heard how everything else has been postponed or delayed or deferred. So we all know it's BS. So now, Lester Holt, it's time for you to drop the facade as well. Like he actually did something wrong here when we all know that he didn't do anything wrong. And if he did do something wrong, then why didn't he get locked up? For any of the allegations against him, why didn't he get locked up? Why is there no penalty? Come on.
The news comes after NBC News learned the Justice Department had been planning to wind down its federal cases against Mr. Trump. It also comes as NBC News learned that Smith and his team plan to resign before Mr. Trump returns to the White House.
They got to resign because if they don't, man, they're going to get fired instantly. As soon as Trump swears in, does the oath, all of that good stuff. The first order of business, before I go to the bathroom, before I wash my hind parts, I'm going to fire Jack Smith and everybody involved. And they might go to the penitentiary to make big rocks to little because there should be some kind of criminality here, I would presume, when you're weaponizing the system against somebody, when you're trying to engage in imprisoning political opponents. That should be some kind of offense, but I digress.
We want to go straight to our justice and intelligence correspondent, Ken Delaney. And Ken, fill us in here.
Lester, Special Counsel Jack Smith and his team have filed a sparse but historic document here asking Judge Tanya Chutkan to dismiss this case. And the grounds they gave is essentially that the Justice Department has always held historically that a sitting president can't be prosecuted or indicted, and that principle applies here. Let me just read a little bit from what they wrote. They said that the department and the country have never faced the circumstance here where a federal indictment against a private citizen has been returned by a grand jury and a criminal prosecution is already underway when the defendant is elected president.
They knew that it wasn't going to go anywhere anyway. They knew that this would be the end result if they were not successful. Well, they knew it was going to be the end result regardless. See, the whole point was to scare the general public. Oh, he had 34 felonies and he shouldn't. That's the whole point. So they can have talking points on television and then scare us, the people. But since it didn't work, now they got to abandon it. And this was going to be the result regardless. He was never going to get locked up. It was only a scare tactic.
Confronted with this unprecedented situation, the special counsel's office consulted with the department's Office of Legal Counsel. That's the group inside the DOJ that decides constitutional legal positions. And then they said that after careful consideration, the Justice Department has determined that the OLC's prior opinions concerning the Constitution's prohibition on federal indictment and prosecution of a sitting president apply to this situation, Lester. So, look, this indictment, this involves the three conspiracies Donald Trump is accused of in an effort to cling to power after the 2020 election. And it marked an extraordinary moment in American history. This is the first ever accusation that a sitting president committed crimes in an effort to cling to power. The dismissal also marks an extraordinary moment. 50 years after Richard Nixon was forced by lawmakers from both parties to resign the presidency amid allegations of criminal conduct, half of American voters discounted equally serious charges of criminal misconduct.
But look, though, but see, the thing is, we know it's BS, though. We know it's BS. The media are kind of confused. Hey, we had all these charges against him. It looked terrible. He shouldn't have been electable. But what you guys don't understand is that we see through your games. All of what you're saying right here, we know is BS. Millions of us, half of the country or more, know that it's BS. So your game plan is not working. You might want to try something else.
In office against Donald Trump. They returned Mr. Trump to the presidency. And if the lesson of Watergate was that no one was above the law, the lesson of the Trump era is that a majority of Americans have decided that this principle no longer applies. And what I can tell you, Lester, is that we also...
There we go again. See, and then they're insulting us. Oh, well, these just dumb Americans don't think that the allegations against them were enough to keep him out of office. So what are we going to do? We got too many dumb Americans. This is what they say all the time. They keep insulting us and then act like, hey, man, why don't they want to watch us anymore? Why don't they take it seriously anymore? We keep putting out lies and misinformation and misdirecting headlines, and the people keep catching us in these lies, but we keep doubling down on it, and they don't trust us. Why? Is it us is it us who are dumb, or is it you guys, the mainstream media, who are dumb?
Expect a filing in the other case, which has been dismissed by the judge, that classified documents case against Mr. Trump, which is on appeal. We expect a filing there, although it's not clear exactly what that filing will say.
Okay, so we got a graphic right here. So the criminal J6 probe, DOJ moves to dismiss. Criminal docs probe, DOJ winding down. The hush money case, Stormy Daniels, that's Alvin Bragg, New York City. Sentencing postponed until 2029, which means he's never going to get sentenced. And if he does, it's going to be a slap on the wrist at best. And then the Georgia probe, that's Fonnie Willis, Big Nate, Sugar Baby, 700 bands before the trial even started. The very, 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 very corrupt DA, who, by the way, if you didn't know, got reelected. I don't know what kind of crack they smoke in Fulton County to reelect her, but it is what it is. All that's delayed, postponed, deferred, whatever, all of it. Because all of these things you see on the screen, all of those things were fake from the beginning. It was a way to keep the orange man out of the White House, but it didn't work. So now they got to abandon it.
Because there are two other defendants in that case. And Jack Smith, the special counsel, is required to file a report to the Attorney General before he leaves office explaining his prosecution decisions. Merrick Garland has a policy of making those reports public. So we can expect to see a public report, Lester. But in this case, we don't expect it to go much beyond the volume of material that is already in the public record about both of these criminal cases.
All right, so there's more, but I'll leave that right there. So all the 4 felony charges against Trump as it relates to the January 6th case under special counsel Jack Smith, he filed to dismiss that. They were already going to, quote unquote, wind down. So it's over. It's over. And really, as I close, I want to say this. I knew this would be the case, especially right when Trump got shot. Once that happened, Oh, I knew with 100% certainty that it was over, because I think we saw divine intervention. You can't even really explain that. I'm not trying to, I ain't trying to talk about the Orange Man as a saint or a deity. It's not even like that. I'm not even a religious person. But how am I going to deny that? Look, the guy was trained right on the center of Trump's forehead with the gun. And if Trump doesn't go like that, it's a slight little move, he gets hit right in between the eyes and he dies. I think that was a divine intervention to say, nope, we're not going to do that. Because if that happened, if he was successful at having that happen, oh my goodness, that would have set off a firestorm. But thank God it didn't. And we're here and we got the Orange Man back. All the fake stuff, all the lawfare, all of that is going to go away. Now, my question as I wrap it on up, put the bow on top, is how about those who have been falsely imprisoned because of January 6th, the actual political prisoners? When they let Steve Bannon out, I'm like, okay, I already see what's going on. That was just a way to try and manipulate people. So what happens to them? They've lost years of their life, finances, life turned upside down. Are they going to get a pardon? Are they going to get financial compensation? Are they going to be able to redress the government without being accused of being an insurrectionist? I don't really know, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your thoughts on the Jack Smith case crumbling and just blowing away in the wind, totally done because he won and they lost? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This was inevitable. Nobody thought that Trump would actually get locked up. Well, I ain't gonna say nobody. We didn't think he was gonna get locked up. Maybe they did on their side, the left. Those who don't really know anything, maybe they thought he was gonna get locked up. But we knew from the beginning what it was. So this is the inevitable outcome. And anytime I see this kind of thing happen in the future, a case that looks suspect, it looks janky, I already know it's a way to try to manipulate us. And as I did this time, I'm not going to fall for it when they do it in the future. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that is all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.